everybody, and welcome in to Blue Jays Today, where guess what, everybody? We're talking about Vladdy again. I think it was in a recent podcast that I said probably not the end of these Vladimir Guerrero Jr. rumors and what have you. And here we are, literally 2 days later, talking about the same goddamn thing. It is so fatiguing. It is exhausting. However, there are some potentially exciting updates here. There was a lot of movement yesterday from both sides, apparently, coming out and speaking to the media. So we're going to break down what they both said and then whether or not this is going to move the needle forward with these extension talks. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog.
I'm your host, Adam Peddle. Yeah, like we made a Blue Jays Today show on Monday talking about it. We made a podcast talking about it. Now we're making our third piece of content about it. And opening day is just 6 days away. So I made it short about it too. I'm like, I'm so sick and tired of talking about this. I just want to talk about baseball, and we are gonna. There's some other things happening too around spring training.
Yeah,
some
exciting
roster moves.
Yeah, potential
big
prospects
roster moves.
maybe making opening day
That's
roster.
That's right. So we're gonna talk about that and as well an update on Max Scherzer too. So hang in, folks. Welcome in. Also, guys, if you haven't already done so, submit your questions in the mailbag down below. The link is there. We got a couple questions, but I'd like to get a couple more for the end of this podcast. So if you haven't already, if you have a question, a burning question you want to ask, go to the description down below and submit your question.
And speaking of links, everybody, that is also where you're going to find the link to book your tickets for March 27th, Amsterdam Brewhouse opening day. We are less than 1 week away right now, everybody, till we are literally right there watching baseball with all of y'all. It's going to be kick-ass. You want to get... It's completely free, by the way, so just, like, hop on in the description. Yeah. Call in sick to work right now, everybody, and we'll see you there next Thursday, opening day. Let's transition immediately and start with... we want to start with what Shapiro said or what Vladdy said?
Yeah, let's start with what Shapiro said, because that kind of, like, kick-started the whole conversation yesterday.
And, like, this is, again, this is kind of what pisses me off before we get into all this. Both sides were saying, we don't want this to be a distraction at all.
I know.
And both of them keep fucking talking about it. Mark Shapiro on the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. contract saying, my overarching feeling is that we're going to sign him. We're going to extend him. And those are two very different things, by the way, right? Signing him, that could mean that, well, we're going to sign him in free agency. Extending him means, no, he's not hitting free agency. We're going to extend him. That's how I feel. Shapiro said the team wants Vladdy to end his career in a Blue Jays uniform. I think we all do. It's about finding that sweet spot in defining risk. So, honestly, a lot right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, and actually Jeff Passan went on the radio. Shout out to Alkins, to Alec Mashra. It's always the funniest handle on Twitter. Passan literally on the radio yesterday was saying, well, here's the difference about what Mark Shapiro said. Before, it was always, we might not, we could. He said we will. Yeah. We're going to. Definitive. We're going to sign this guy, in the Toronto Blue Jays uniform. That, for me, is the biggest difference. There's no more secret language. It's, we're going to do it, and we're going to get it done. And he was saying, too, as well, I got a TSN article right here, so shout out. The reason why he feels that confident is just because of the fact that, he's going to, actually, where's the quote here? Oh, here we go. The reason why he feels that way is because we have such a clear alignment on the desired outcome, whatever that means. So I don't know if he's talked to Vladdy and his camp, and they also want to get this deal done, and they have a clear objective here that they want to reach a goal, and it also lines up with the Blue Jays, their clear objective, they want to get it done, and also there's another quote there. I want to throw this into the mix. I don't have it right here, but there's another quote where he's saying, we've thrown out all of our calculations of values and all that. We've thrown that out the window. We've gone way past that because we want to get Vladdy done. For me, that is actually massive to hear.
And honestly, I think I could have told you that after it was revealed that they offered up $500 million, because to me, I don't know if there is any algorithm that is gonna tell you based on what Guerrero's done up until this point that he is a $500 million guy. At that point, when you get up to those numbers, it's clear. It's got more to do with the marketability. It's got more to do with the fact that we believe in you. We want you to be the quote-unquote legacy player.
I'm gonna find that quote.
Legacy player right there. I mean, you could argue they are different, so...
What is legacy and what is generational? That was a funny quote there, too. Mark Shapiro yesterday said there aren't many players anymore who are signed, developed, born in the country of Canada and play for their whole career in one place, in one uniform. I call those guys legacy players.
Sure.
What is a legacy player and a generational talent?
I have no idea. You're gonna have to ask Mark Shapiro. I mean, I think we all have our definitions of what those two things are. But point being, Guerrero means a lot not only for the Toronto Blue Jays but also for Canadian baseball as a whole. And I mean, what's going on right now with Canada, there does seem to be a lot of patriotism right now just associated with Canadians in general, and having a guy like that stay here instead of going south of the border, I mean, that means something, right? And maybe that means something to Mark Shapiro as well. So I do agree with Jeff Passan in thinking that the fact that these guys came out and said, no, it's gonna happen, we're gonna do this, everybody. You don't hear them say that very often, right? How many times has Ross Atkins come out and said, it is going to be this way? Most of the time, he's kind of wishy-washy, whatever, like up in the air, and that's what pisses us the hell off, because, like, how do I interpret what you're saying right now? Like, it could be this, it could be that, we have no idea. This, to me, it sets the stage, and honestly, now, if you don't get it done, you're in hot water. So it's just more fuel to the fire for them to do this.
The media asked Mark Shapiro about his upcoming contract that is at the end of this season, and he's like, I'm not even going to talk about that. Like, that's not what this is about right now. So, I mean, even though he's not going to talk about it, I mean, it's extending Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for me, if you get that done, you prove to me that you are capable of building a team to probably the best of your abilities. I mean, the fact that you sign back a legacy player, and let's face it, like, if you're going to sign Vladdy to the third highest contract in baseball history, that's huge. Not 27 other teams in baseball don't have a guy that they're paying like that. So that's extremely massive. So, and
there's 20 of them that are never going to have
that. Like, literally never do
that,
that, right? So it's huge. So if he does it for me, I got to tip my cap to Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins and the whole front office if they get it done. Now, when exactly is it going to get done? He talked about it. I mean, he literally said it could happen now or it could happen up until free agency. So it could literally happen any time. And he also mentioned that he could leverage and use free agency to kind of determine the value. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we just talked about this week. If Vladdy is asking for, wants $700 million and his floor is $500, free agency might be a way to humble him a little bit and get his true value out there.
Well, and listen, okay, they may have said that they're throwing out all algorithms and all stats and everything like that, but there's going to be a little bit in the back of your mind where they're thinking, hey, we believe we have a relatively good evaluation of you right now at the $500 million mark. If Guerrero's coming into these meetings and going, hey, boys, my floor is 500, my ceiling is 700, then it's
tough.
Yeah, it's tough to work with that. And I do give the Toronto Blue Jays front office credit for getting up to that number in the first place. I personally think that's probably a little bit too high even. But you know what? They're willing to go there. So maybe a way to get around that is to let some of the season start to play out. See how Vladdy's doing, right? Is he if he is popping off like crazy, well, maybe then you do want to move up, or maybe you've told yourself that, okay, like if after May, Guerrero is, hitting over 300 and doing really good, we are willing to reach that offer. It might not get it done at that point because maybe Vladdy's going to shift. But listen, like, this is all part of the negotiations, right? Or alternatively, well, maybe Guerrero's just doing okay. Maybe he's going to come down to earth a little bit and realize that his evaluations of himself are a little bit off. I think that they're trying to play this as intelligently as possible because at the end of the day, everybody is screaming at the top of their lungs to sign Guerrero right now, get it done. However, we're very quick to change our opinion. And should they sign him to a massive deal, and then in a couple of years from now, it starts to look like the George Springer contract, everybody's going to take the other side of the coin and go,
of course,
why the fuck did you sign him to this deal? So I like what they're doing, at least.
Yeah, no, I do, and I agree. And this season's going to determine everything. I mean, baseball games. They were talking about it on the broadcast, too, actually, Buck Martinez. The baseball games are going to tell you how much you're worth, and then the free agency is going to tell you how much you're worth. So for me right now, I don't expect them to get this deal done anytime soon. I find it hard to believe that they get it done in the middle of the season, too. Like, I really do think, based on everything that we've heard, that like free agency is the best way for Vladdy to figure out his value. Because
I thought that as well. It's just the fact that Shapiro is coming out and saying we're going to extend him. And maybe
it could be in free agency or sign him too. He said both words.
He said both. He said both, but he specifically said we will extend him. And maybe I'm just holding on to something because I want to hold on to it right now. But hey, like that's pretty clear to me, right? There's only one way to extend the guy, and to extend him, you got to do it before free agency, because then technically it would be, well, we're re-signing him. So I don't know. That actually gives me a little tiny bit of hope that he won't hit free agency. Obviously, there's a lot of hoops that need to be jumped through before any of that happens. And, fuck me. I'm putting my faith in the Toronto Blue Jays front office. What am I thinking? But it does instill me with confidence hearing what he said yesterday.
Do you think that now that the word is kind of out there that he's wanting this ceiling and that's his floor, that there's been a lot of reaction from fans? I wonder if there's reactions from like other executives around the league being like, dude, you're way out of line.
There's going to be talk.
Because if there is, then I wonder if that incentivizes Vladdy to be like, oh, fuck, maybe I should. And in his camp, maybe I should bridge the gap here and take this deal.
I think that, there's going to be talk. I don't think anybody's, nobody's going to reach out to Vladdy and be like, hey, man, we're never going to pay you that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, okay, the executives of the, Philadelphia Phillies are hanging out in the break room talking, and they're like, did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy. We're never going to do that. And then somebody hears that,
and then it gets
around, and you know what I mean? Something like that, and I could definitely hear that, or I could believe that somebody in Guerrero's camp, is starting to hear a little bit about this. I could also see, though, just through this broken telephone, and I would hate it if this happened, that, maybe through this broken telephone, they heard that, oh, actually, somebody's really willing to pay that.
Yeah, right, and then he
continues to do it. So, I don't know. Maybe not. Fingers crossed it goes in our direction if that happens.
Yeah,
but
I get that. Well, if you're hopeful that it's going to happen soon, then you'd be a fan of Hector Gomez, because Hector Gomez, he came out, this was a couple days ago, he tweeted the one that he's quote tweeting right now, saying source the Blue Jays are planning to make a new offer to Vladdy, and then he comes out here and says this could happen sooner than expected. So the offer that he's talking about is that $550 to $600 million mark. That is way beyond what our expectations are. But if they apparently they're going to offer that sooner rather than expected, if they do, I think Vladdy in his camp would be very mistaken by not taking that deal.
Yeah.
They would be regretting that if they didn't take that.
I was just looking right here to see if he gave any initial timeline at all, because then he goes on to say, oh, sooner than expected. Well, what did we expect? What was the initial expectation? And he doesn't say anything there, so we don't know. My interpretation of this would be before the season.
That's what I'm interpreting it as. Yeah,
like, okay, you're tweeting this stuff out right now. It feels like this is a before the season type thing, and then we enter. It'd just be weird if it's
sooner expected. June. That doesn't make any sense.
What are we doing? So that's what I'm taking away from Hector Gomez right there. However, it's Hector Gomez, and he's gotten a lot of things right. He's gotten a lot of things wrong, and for whatever reason, him and the other one over there, much less reputable, Carlos Baerga, but both of them have seemingly just attached themselves to this Guerrero extension, and whenever there's anything going on with it, they are in the mud talking about it. I want to believe him. I want to think that, something's going to transpire in the next, 6 days or so. But with the Mark Shapiro comments, it feels good, but I don't know.
Yeah, look, if what Mark Shapiro is saying is true and they're willing to go way beyond their evaluations, well, then what's the limit? Is there a limit? Is there a limit to your going beyond the evaluations? If there isn't, then give him the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're already way beyond it. How much is a little bit more? And if Mark Shapiro really does believe that Vladdy is a legacy player, and he also said this comment, he's like, Vladdy's not going to, basically, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he's saying signing a guy like Vladdy on a bad baseball team isn't going to fill seats, and you're probably right. If Vladdy's still here and extended for a long time and they don't have a winning team, then it's not going to fill seats.
No, nobody's going to care.
So you better have a plan. If you're going to sign him, well, then a domino effect's going to happen, and you're going to keep winning.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're not going to, look, again, Guerrero isn't the same as Ohtani, where, it's just everybody's going to watch you and want to be part of you, if he's on your team. That's just not the case. Vladdy's cool and fun, but he's also, he's never going to put up a 10 more season like any of those guys. He's not going to will your team to the playoffs type thing. And I don't even know if Ohtani can do that solo because he tried with the Angels several times. So we would need to build a team around him regardless. I hope that they know that. I hope that they realize that. Sure. I do worry a little bit that, man, like as much as I'd be excited to see the deal happen and everything like that, a $600 million contract for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And you could say this about anybody. You could say this about Ohtani. You could say this about Soto. You could say this about pretty much anybody that signs a big-time deal. But that could have the potential to be quite literally the worst contract in sports history if a couple things don't go our way.
Okay. You know what? Like, look, he'll be getting, I just did the math with that. It's $42 million per year. Like, $42 million per year.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll be good. You know, he's 27 when he starts that deal, hypothetically. What are we expecting? 5 good years? 5 peak really good years to like age 32?
Okay, realistically, if you did sign, we'll go down the rabbit hole here,
let's go,
guys.
Let's play.
Let us know in the comments what you're thinking about this. What would you need to see to be happy with this?
Yeah.
If you sign somebody to a 14-year deal, for $600 million, there's a couple, and again, it's not one size fits all here. There's a couple different things. All right, if you lead the team and play a pivotal role in the Toronto Blue Jays winning a championship, well, that to me, it's worth it, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, it depends what you do. Like, if you're just along for the ride, well, okay, like, not really. But if you are, like, a key pivotal player, hitting bombs in the ALCS, like, getting us there, and then we win that thing, that alone might be worth it for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If we never win a championship with you on the team, I would need to see some significant, individual accomplishments. Sprinkle in maybe an MVP in the 14 years several All-Star games.
Absolutely. Like, for me, I got to get that 5-year window of pure value. Like, you got to be at the top of your game. You got to be up there top 5 in MVP every single effing season. We're paying you to be top 5 in MVP every single season, so you have to be top 5 in MVP every single season. And then here's the thing. You can't expect him, this is the problem, at age 33 plus, which will be the remaining 9 years of that contract.
9 years,
that's the thing.
Man.
You can't actually expect him to be that guy anymore because that's not how bodies age. Like, you can't. Like, who are you looking at?
I'm looking at Miguel Cabrera because he was always like the big comparison here, and I'm just taking a look from like if you got. Again, like, and I think this is super, like, honestly, Miguel was maybe better than Guerrero prior to being 27. But right when he turned 27 is when Miguel Cabrera went insane mode, won 2 MVPs, finished MVP 2 in a period of time. And he was like,
Triple Crown.
he was top 5 for sure for the next, like, 6 years.
Yeah, until he was 33 years old.
For the next 6 years, he was top 5 in baseball, maybe even the best player in baseball, actually. And then after that, there was a pretty significant decline. This, to me, I would be like, okay, we got our value. I'm happy about it.
That's the thing. He won 2 MVPs there, too. They went on a good run there with him. They didn't win the World Series, but you got your worth. But that's the thing. You got to be okay with the bad part of the contract.
And then in the remaining 7 years, I believe it was, it'd be longer for Guerrero. Remaining 7 years, he ended up having a 710 OPS there.
That's
obviously wasn't great.
And you got to be okay with that, and you got to be able to look ahead and know that eventual decline is coming, and you gotta supplement. Because here's the beautiful thing about the Toronto Blue Jays is that we have luxury. We have a payroll that's top 5 in baseball this year. You know, if we're willing to be
Detroit never did.
Detroit never did. And if we're willing to be a top 5 payroll in all of baseball, okay, that $42 million or whatever, I guess maybe they lowered or defer some money. That $42 million that's just sitting there from Vladdy is taking up, quick maths, a sixth of your payroll. Maybe, obviously, inflation is going to happen in the CBT and the luxury tax will go up. So maybe a seventh and eighth of your payroll. Well, you can still make a pretty good roster if you develop well, scout well, and then bring those guys up. for cheap contracts and then sign a few guys.
Yeah.
You can still do it.
Yeah.
But you need to get to that point later.
You also, you are going to need to be willing to be, top 5, top 10 in payroll at the very least.
That's it.
Which I think they are, and they have been. I know people get on the Blue Jays for not spending. I've never been one of those
That narrative's
people.
dead to me.
Yeah.
Especially if you do sign Vladdy, like, no one can say anything anymore. You might be able to say, oh, they can't attract free agents, but
which is fair. Yeah.
Which is fair. Like, we get kind of the next tier down of, like, the Santanders, the Scherzers at the end of their career.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if you sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. popping the hell off, I bet that narrative changes.
So, again, like, they don't spend like the Dodgers spend. But,
Right.
I mean, nobody spends like the Dodgers spend, except maybe Steve Cohen. But
Either
way, that is what Mark Shapiro had to say about it. Before we move on, I know Guerrero said one or two things about this as well that we did just want to quickly bring up here. I know we've been talking about Vladdy a lot. We will get to some other stuff, but bear with us. Guerrero came out and said, I've always felt good about the whole thing. I'm good with that. Just going to keep working very hard, be optimistic, not going to shut the door on them. So door is still open. We kind of knew that anyways. It doesn't sound to me that like he's made any adjustments to his evaluation. I don't know if anybody would have at this point. But it's kind of a wait and see thing. And again, he's still open to it, but I don't know.
I guess to put a bow on this whole conversation, my favorite topic of conversation and my favorite game is putting the percentage on it. Excuse me. What's your percentage that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension happens before opening day?
Oh, man. Before opening
before
day.
Opening day.
Like it's 6 days? Like
in 6 days.
Jesus. I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like what it was that Mark Shapiro said about, they're going to do it and everything like that. And, Hector Gomez, like it's heating up, but 6 days, not a lot of time. And a lot of shit could go wrong between now and then. I don't know, 10%.
Yeah, I'm probably about an 8. 8%.
Yeah.
8%.
You couldn't meet me at 10.
Yeah, I know. I can't. I can't. I mean, well, okay. How about we'll throw one more in there. How about percentage that an extension or a signing will happen and it will be with the Toronto Blue Jays?
Listen, in free agency, you mean?
Yeah, free agency at any point.
Okay, see, that changes things a lot. At that point, I'll go, like 50 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm actually more optimistic that, based on what I'm hearing, him evaluating himself and then the Blue Jays kind of going out of their comfort zone, I'm actually a lot more optimistic. I might go 60 because, if the Blue Jays are really desperate to want to get him back, and if the rest of the league goes, damn, dude, you want that much money? Yeah. Then they might be like, well, we're going to pass.
Well, you're first baseman. Also, too, like, unless he goes nuclear this year, I know that I know his evaluations are wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think any other team, I think the Jays are going to offer the most money.
Yeah,
because they know what he means to them. So if he goes to free agency and, Steve Cohen's not in on it and everything like that, I think we got a pretty good chance.
I think we do.
Let's give a quick shout out, everybody, to Amsterdam Brewhouse. We already kind of shouted it out off the top, but this next segment is brought to you by our friends over there at Amsterdam Brewhouse, guys. It's a short 5-minute walk from the Rogers Center, where the best Jays fans tailgate for pre- and post-game beers and food. We are going to be preing and posting up at Amsterdam Brewhouse on opening day, March 27th. Tickets in our description. Tickets are free. Tons of giveaways. It's going to be great. If you don't have tickets to the actual game, then that's definitely your spot because there's tons of TVs. Damn good craft beer, locally brewed in Toronto, and on-site brewery. Check out the latest from Brewmasters at Amsterdam with their always rotating adventure brews. 245 Queens Quay West, everybody. That's where you want to go. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we'll see you there, guys. I can't wait to post up, literally get there at 12:30, just boom, we're just hanging out with y'all.
Opening day, baby.
Opening day. It's going to be a blast, guys. So, speaking of Blue Jays and opening day, we got some updates on some guys who won't be on the opening day roster. And this kind of alludes to some maybe Alan Roden is going to make the team evidence here. You got right here from the Toronto Blue Jays. This was, I believe, a day ago. Yes, this was yesterday at 5 o'clock. You had the following players option to Triple-A: Jake Blas, Jonathan Clase, Aurelvis Martinez. He didn't make the team. He was talked about at the beginning of the spring training, like, oh, maybe they DH him. Maybe he plays third. Defense is a bit of a problem right now. Dylan Tate, we signed him. Not going to make the opening day roster. That righty. Josh Walker, the lefty. He's not going to make the opening day roster, but he's some depth right there. So those 5 guys, before we move on and talk about Alan Roden, Thoughts on those 5 guys? Anything surprising you here? Not
well,
for me, not really.
I mean, Jonathan and Orelvis could have, but I think that as time went on, there was just other options that were more pressing at that moment. I like this decision making right now because, like you said, it does allude to the fact that potentially Alan Roden could be the guy, right? I mean, there's just another person, Jonathan and Orelvis Martinez, that aren't going to be vying for one of those bench spots, and like that to me is the one big through line of all of this. If you've learned anything in spring training, then it's that Alan Roden deserves to be at the major league level right now.
Sure.
I can't promise you that he's going to develop and turn into a great major league player. All I can say is that at the beginning of this year, he deserves a shot. And if it doesn't work out, okay, whatever. It doesn't work out. You send him down, and that's his MLB career, and he can go and become an astrophysicist like he was always meant to be before he ended up getting into baseball.
Right.
But having a 1.284 OPS in spring training and coming off of a great season in the minors where he skyrocketed through the ranking system, this is somebody I want to see.
Yeah, and he's really close right now. The fact that, like, for me, I was putting him and Orelvis Martinez in the same tier. And the fact that Orelvis is gone and you're still here tells me everything I need to know. And he's got some still competition to go and squeak into a roster spot. I'm talking about the guys like Addison Barger, Davis Schneider. Those 2 guys have been coming alive lately, and they might be fighting for a bench spot. You got guys like Miles Straw also coming alive, might be taking over for Dalton Varsho. We'll see how that situation kind of plays out, because if Dalton Varsho's on the team, then maybe he doesn't make the team. So we'll see how that plays out. And then it's like, yeah, that 26th man, because obviously you got Tyler Heineman, that 26th man, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Alan Roden? Is it going to be Lo Perfido?
Right. Because right
left?
now, I'm just trying to go through it in my brain right now. We know that Tyler Heineman's going to be on the bench, as we went through this a couple weeks ago, but now we have a better understanding of things. Tyler Heineman's going to be on the bench. The decision of whether Dalton Varsho is or is not on the IL to start is actually a big one, because obviously that's a spot right there.
Yeah.
I think he is going to be, based on some of the recent reports, like from, Keegan and everything. So let's assume he is.
I hope so, yeah.
Or you hope he is on the
I hope he is on the opening day roster. Dalton Varsho. Yeah.
Okay, because from what we were hearing from Keegan the other day, it was like he might be
not
on the injured list.
I think that was a week ago, was it?
I don't think it was quite a week ago.
Oh my God, time all meshes together. But like, I don't know. For me, it's tough to believe that, like, why would you start this guy in the IR? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, he's getting everyday reps and he's doing so good with the bat. Like, why not just DH him and then, like, why go through all those rosters? Because here's the thing: if you bring him up, let's say, like, the argument we're trying to make here is like, that's a way for Alan Roden to make the team. Why bring up Alan Roden for 10 days and then send him down? That doesn't make any sense either, right? So for me, I'd rather like burn like a Miles Straw or like burn like Joey Lo Perfido or something. Like, so for me, it's like, just make it easier for you and just put him on the 26th man.
All right.
You know what
well,
I mean?
For sake of argument, then let's assume that he is on the roster. However, keeping in mind there is a reasonable chance that he's not, but he is. Then that effectively just leaves you the 3 bench spots there. And it is between Lo Perfido, Roden, Barger, Miles Straw, Schneider.
Yeah,
those are like the 5.
Maybe like me. I'm already knocking out Leo Jimenez. He's technically still in camp, but I
think that there are other options there.
Yeah.
Like those are the 5, and for me, like, I do think that Roden deserves it. I'm a big Addison Barger fan, and then I don't actually care,
dude.
Like at that point, it's whoever.
Dude, I'm going with the best 26 man. I'm going with Barger, Schneider, and Alan Roden to fill out the bench right now. And like I was saying earlier this spring training, like, we want to like preserve his playing time. But I actually now can see, brought this up before, I can see a route of him having playing time, and that's George Springer.
Yeah,
like George Springer. We're gonna look at the lineup a little bit later in this episode. George Springer's falling down the lineup right now. Dude, Jimenez is batting ahead of George Springer right now.
Yeah.
And I know that George has come out and said that he's not worried. I think everybody else is worried for you. Maybe not John Schneider, maybe not you, maybe not your teammates, but I'm certainly worried.
$25 million a year. I wouldn't
be worried either, dude. I'm not getting, but like seriously, like George Springer is a clear and obvious avenue for Allen Roden to get everyday playing time. It might take a couple weeks for us to all realize, okay, it's no longer spring training. George actually can't hit a fastball to save his effing life. Boom, there's Allen Roden ready to go on the roster.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And then on top of all of that, right, like there is a rotating DH that you can do and everything. And honestly, like I know that, everyone's like, oh, get the good playing time, whatever. If you're really, really good at baseball, you'll make it work.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
And I think that Allen Roden's really good at baseball. So in that case, let's bring him up, everybody. That is where we're at with all of that. Thank you so much to Amsterdam, guys. We shall see you all there on March 27th, everybody. Next segment, though, brought to you by our another sponsor, Tim Hortons. It's your last chance, everybody, to go and to roll up that rim. Roll up the rim. It ends on March 23rd, so if you haven't already done so, get out and get a coffee. There are still prizes to be claimed, folks.
Two more days.
Seriously, you got 2 more days. So any vacation that hasn't been claimed yet, somebody's got to get it. You got to roll up the rim to find out.
Yeah, do it, guys. Turn your annual Tim's run into an unforgettable vacation. Let's go. All right, next segment we got is about Mr. Max Scherzer. We talked about him a couple days ago. God, see, I don't even know what the timeline is. Is it Friday? Like, when did we talk about Max Scherzer? When did Max Scherzer hurt his thumb and we were thinking that he was basically done?
Max Scherzer hurt his thumb earlier this week.
Okay, so like...
Or at least he said he was talking about it.
That was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday. Yeah. Okay, on Tuesday, Max Scherzer was like, my thumb hurts. I don't know. I can only pitch like 50 pitches a game and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, well, what the hell do we do? Does he start on the IR? Does he start at the bullpen? Is he an opener? What the hell are we going to do with him? Well... apparently things are progressing pretty well, like things have been doing this spring training. Max Scherzer is going to pitch tomorrow on the road for the Blue Jays. Keegan says that's surprising, but because usually they pitch like, at home at Dunedin, so I have to go on the road and travel with the team. But Schneider says, and I love this from Max Scherzer, Schneider says Scherzer wants to face real opponents instead of a minor league game. And dude, I agree. Like, if I'm the guy like Max Scherzer, and I love how he calls it how it is, why the hell am I preparing against minor leaguers?
Totally.
I want to prepare against the big boys.
Yeah.
So let me go on the road. And obviously, we only have road games left. We have 1 home game today and then 2 road games this weekend. So he's got to pitch sometime. So Max Scherzer, though, to circle it all back, if everything goes well, he could be clear for the season. That's big news.
Yeah, 100%, dude. This should be the route that I think a lot of pitchers should take. I mean, you can go 7 innings in spring training scoreless against minor leaguers, but I mean, wouldn't it be that much better if you can actually test your stuff up against the real guys that you're going to be facing on the first series or what have you? And that's what Scherzer wants to do. It just goes to show that he has not lost anything in terms of the competitive nature, right? Sometimes when these guys get older, it's like, okay, well, I'm doing this for a paycheck. I don't think he's doing it for a paycheck at all. I think that he is doing it because, 1, he just loves the game of baseball. 2, because he is a born competitor and a born winner, right? And if he's here, he's going to want to win.
Yeah.
He's showing that right now. And the fact that, if he can get through that game, not injure his thumb or not hurt it so bad, it's going to make me feel a lot better.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because I really wanted to see Max Scherzer pitch and start the season. And hopefully, again, like if everything goes good, we can see that. And as you can see right here, I'm pulling up the schedule for those on video. We're right there, right? We got the Phillies. Oh, actually, we do have 1 more home game on against the Pirates, so that's super exciting. But there, Max Scherzer will be on the road against the Twins. Today, La Maquina is going to be on the bump, so that's super cool. And then I believe the next person in rotation is going to be Kevin Gausman, which actually would line up perfectly for him to start right there on the Friday. Now, doing a little bit of a prediction, here. We got La Maquina scheduled to go opening day on Thursday. Shout out to Amsterdam once again. We're going to be there watching them at Amsterdam Brewhouse. Then it's going to be Kevin Gausman, supposedly, as we heard. Then I believe it is going to be Chris Bassett, who's going to be coming in after. He was kind of next in line in this whole kind of spring training rotation. Then Bowden Francis. And then probably my best guess is they're going to give Max Scherzer as much rest as possible and have him face against the Nationals, his former team.
He's going to love that.
That'd be awesome.
That's something that he wants. He was probably circling it on the schedule and wanting to go up against those guys again.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can, think about how much of a flex that is.
Yeah.
I'm still dicing you, and I'm 40. What are you guys doing right now? So, yeah, of course he wants to do that, and that just makes the most sense to me. That's kind of what I was thinking the rotation was going to look like for a while now, but it's nice to see it start to take shape.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So that's the latest on Max Scherzer right there, presented to you by Tim Hortons, everybody. Again, go roll up the rim. We're literally almost there, guys, so go check it out. And that leads us to the final segment of today's Blue Jays Today show, the mailbag, presented to you by Betway.
Whoa, time for a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code down below to join the action. Only available in Ontario. Must be 19 years of older to participate. Please play responsibly. Now, everyone, back to the content. Shout out to Betway, everybody, for being absolutely phenomenal, guys. This is a spot to go if you have any interest at all in sports betting. Right now, 31 times your money if the Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series.
Whoa!
And listen, all right, listen. Prior to a month ago, I would have said there's no way. It's impossible. There's no way this is ever going to happen. But right now, there are 3 games remaining for the Toronto Blue Jays to potentially clinch the coveted title of the Golden Grapefruit, as stated by Keegan Madison there. Shout out Keegan Madison.
Yeah. The Golden Grapefruit.
Yeah. If you guys are listen, I know that spring training doesn't matter. None of this means anything. However, right now, the Toronto Blue Jays are in the lead for the Grapefruit League. Now, if Boston was to win their next game, because they got a game in hand on us, they'd be tied with the Toronto Blue Jays. But still, pressure's on. We got 3 games left. If you win, you control your own fate. If they win every single one of their 3 remaining games, we are at least assured to be a co-champion of the Grapefruit League.
And here's the thing, right? So we have 3 games left, 2 of them at home. Do you want to guess what the Blue Jays record is at home in Dunedin this year?
In
the Grapefruit League.
I have no idea.
12-1. 12-1. So
they really like that stadium.
They do. And also, that's when you play all your best guys. So, but here's the thing: you got Max Scherzer going on the road in a very important game in the Grapefruit League.
Yeah.
So we're bringing out our best stuff.
Actually,
there.
that's why they're pitching him.
That's why they're pitching him on the road. They want to take care of those Twins.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need this win.
And listen, it's going to be a revenge game too, because David Popkins is going up against his former team, the Twins.
Yeah.
It's all meant to be right? So we're all we have to do is take care of the Pirates at home. The Phillies at home is going to be a tough one, because that's going to be a pretty good game. It is going to be tough, but you got Lamakina on the mound. Everything's shaped up for the Golden Grapefruit, everybody. The Golden Grapefruit was right in hand. So look at the lineup the Blue Jays got too, right? But this is for today. Bichette, Guerrero, Santander, Jimenez batting 4th. He's having a great spring. George dropping down to the 5th spot. Kirky, Barger's hot. Clement's hot. Lucas, he's probably not going to make the team. He's not even close. He wouldn't even bring him up. But yeah, good lineup for the Blue Jays.
I think the boys want to win this.
They want to win the game.
I mean, like, let's face it. Why are you... Like, you don't have to put all of these guys in. They want to win this damn thing. They're talking in the clubhouse saying, we got a real shot at this. And, look, I know that this means nothing. However, if you roll through the Grapefruit League, pick up a title, I just think that's a lot better from a mentality standpoint than alternatively just kind of, floating through, losing more than you win, right? You're coming in on a high. You're feeling like, wow, we can do this.
Dude, and
we can beat these guys.
Dude, and I always look at it this way, too. I mean, on the road as well, we're sending out our guys like Barger and, the Clements and the Davis Schneiders. They're all going on the road and facing, all the bench guys going on the road and facing all our depth. And they're hot as hell this year, facing against their good starting pitching. Like David Schneider hit a home run off Aaron Nola. That's not fluky.
A real guy. He's gonna be in the Cy Young conversation.
That's a real dude. So for me, it's like, yeah, you could, obviously it's all fun. We're chasing Grapefruit Leagues, but like literally our offense is popping the off and is leading to a lot of these wins.
Yeah, dude. Throwback to when that happened last year. Oh, wait. It literally never
happened.
So enjoy this right now, everybody. You could bet on the World Series win, and maybe this is indicative of what's about to happen. However, what's probably more likely is that this is going to be the one thing that we do have a good chance at winning. And if they win it, look, how better to start the season than to win spring training.
Right?
I'll just put it that way.
Exactly, guys. Hey, big shout out here to T-Rad32. Golden grapefruit equal Vladdy extension. That's right.
W's in the chat right there.
It's a direct comparison. Also, big shout out to Katie Flower Smith. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Katie Flower Smith. W's in the chat right there. She's been a long time listener, viewer of this channel. We appreciate you, Katie, having you part of this community. Can't wait to see you back at a Toronto Blue Jays game in our merchandise. That was sick.
That was so cool
when that happened. But happy birthday to you, Katie. Let's get to a couple questions right here. We only got 2 of them for you today. So if you haven't already done so, go ask your questions in the mailbag that we have down below. We got one from Brian right here saying, should the Jays move Scherzer to the pen? If you don't think so, would you be fine with 85 innings from Scherzer this year? Where are you at with that?
No Scherzer in the pen. You know, I don't want to mess up this guy's mojo. This guy's never pitched. Actually, I could be wrong about that. But assuming this guy doesn't really pitch out of the pen ever in his career, I'm keeping him as a starter. I'd rather like have him start the game and like set the effing tone, you know, for a game, and then if he only can go like 85 innings, if you can only go like 3 innings, 4 innings, 5 innings because of his freaking thumb, okay, well now we're changing gears and we're piggybacking either like a Ryan Yarbrough off you or Yariel Rodriguez, and that's just what we're gonna do, and then we're gonna bridge the gap to the other guys in the bullpen. So look, I want Max Scherzer starting ball games. That's it for me. I don't care if he pitches 85 innings. I just want him in the game.
Tell you what, Max Scherzer can go in the pen when we're in the World Series.
Sure.
And in that case, you play him out of the pen every time you need to. I think he actually has done that before, if I remember correctly, back when it was the Nationals.
The Nationals.
I think that they did do that once or twice.
Yeah, I thought they did Strasburg and then Scherzer or one of the other.
They did something like that to like get those boys in there as much as possible. So if that's the case, sure, put him in the goddamn pen.
Yeah.
But I agree with Adam too. I mean, you're talking about somebody that's been a starter his entire career and been one of the best at that. I'm cool with 85 innings. That's effectively what I expected from you anyways.
Yeah.
Any more than that, and I'm feeling really good.
Yes, I am. We got one more question in here. I believe this is from Jared. So shout out to Jared.
Shout out Jared, man.
It's a funny one. His question is, why were we so bad last year, and why does Vlad hate us?
Well,
I don't think Vlad hates us.
Okay, well let's start with the Vladdy hating us thing. I don't think Vlad hates us either. I think that recently there has been some stuff that's come out that is indicating to us that Vladdy may like money more than we thought he initially did.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, though, we got to take some blame there and be like, okay, well, what the fuck were we thinking, right? Yeah, sure, you can like Toronto, but...
let's be honest.
Do you like Toronto $50 million less than or more than the other team?
I'll be honest, guys. Like, sure, I'll always have love for Toronto, but if someone offered me $700 million to go and report about the Oakland Athletics,
Colorado
or the Rockies, I'm going there. I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I love the Jays.
It is what it is, right? So I don't think Vladdy hates us. I think that he's just trying to play his cards as best as he can. And I do still think that he's open to coming back to Toronto, assuming, of course, they pay him through the roof. You want to take the first part of that question?
Yeah, why were we so bad last year? It was a concoction of a lot of things going wrong. Bullpen injuries leading to one of the worst bullpens in baseball, and if you are a advanced stat guy, it was the worst bullpen in all of baseball. BOMBSHELL getting injured, our signings not really panning out like Justin Turner, not making any signings is also another reason, and then some regression in that starting rotation. Everything concocted to 74 wins. So that it was literally the floors of the floors, other than Vladdy being amazing and wanting a lot of money.
Exactly,
so that was
right.
it.
And like we said, we're starting out this season at the ceiling of potentially winning the Grapefruit League. Leah Herring in here saying, I just wonder what you even do with that much money. You buy a lot of cookies. Shout out to Leah, by the way, who's going to be sending us over some cookies for opening day. Also, by the way, folks, Leah, next live stream, put your Instagram handle in the chat. We'll give it a big shout out. We followed her on Instagram the other day. She followed us. We followed her. Dude, she makes some incredible stuff
pro.
Right there.
When you first said, well, bake some cookies, I was picturing like Pillsbury, like, oven, you're just putting them out on the tray. Nah, like, she bakes, and she's a pro. So go check it out.
Go check it out, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this Blue Jays Today show. We only got one more Blue Jays Today show left before actual baseball.
Wow. Oh, we should. Oh, I wonder if we should be making our wheel picks soon. I just updated the graphic.
True.
I
That
just
is true. It might be time for the wheel game.
It might be time for the
We're all
wheel.
tied up, right? 2-2.
We're 2-2 in the history.
Yeah.
I think it was. Did I win last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it went you, then me, then you, then me. We kind of flip-flopped.
We've been
That was
flip-flopping
your
back
year.
and forth. Yeah, exactly. I got to bounce back this season. But folks, thanks so much for tuning in. And hit that like, smash the subscribe button. Hopefully, we will see all of you on March 27th at Amsterdam Brew.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, go Jays, go!